to the Business and Bubbly podcast. This is the place for women in business who are on the journey of building their big ideas and want to have fun along the way. It's for those of us who also know we aren't meant to do business or life alone. Hi, I'm Charity Majors, your host and the founder of Business and Bubbly. Think of this kind of like the can I pick your brain chats that you've always wanted to have with those who are doing epic things, plus business besties, hype girls, and getting into massive action towards your next big idea, all in the same place. Oh, and bubbles, because if you're not having fun along the way, you're not doing it right. Together, we'll unlock what it means to be seen, known, heard, and championed all along the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and being a woman in business building big dreams. Each week, I'll bring you a quick sip business tip, as well as interviews from top experts that make you feel like you're getting bottle service for your business. We're having the raw and real conversations and chatting about all the things, the messy middle, the pivots, scaling, the good days and the bad days, because here we do real. It's where we can work hard, play hard, cry it out, and dance it out all at the same time without being judged. This is a place where we are in the arena together and we are each other's biggest fans because most of us have enough comments from the cheap seats. It's where our too much is par for the course and where the gaps of our not enough are filled in by the other epic women that are around us. It's where we can be unapologetic about the mission we are on, about the big dreams on our heart, and the business we are building without having to be perfect or have it all together, or even pretend to. It's a supportive community where business is being done amongst like-minded women, because when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. It's a place where you have the support around you to get out of your comfort zone and go after your big ideas, because even when you fail forward or when you reach the top, you know it won't be alone. Also, if you know anything about me, you'll know that I'm obsessed with creating platforms that lift up other women to be seen and heard and known. So with that in mind, I'd like to invite you to list your business on our directory called Find Women in Business. All you've got to do is text the word directory to 833-231-8098, and I'll text you the link back to get your free listing. This is also a great way to connect with other women in business from around the world, so definitely check it out. And now let's get to the good stuff. Grab a glass of your favorite beverage, Prosecco, bubbly water, or whatever your flavor is, and let's dive in. Are you with me? Here we go. Welcome, everyone. I am excited to be here with you on this live podcast recording. I have a special guest with me here, Natalie Lemus Hernandez.
Hi.
And for those of you that don't know, I'm the podcast host of two podcasts. I have Meant for More podcast and the Business and Bubbly podcast. And Meant for More is somewhat of a faith-based podcast all about walking in your God-given purpose. And Business and Bubbly is all about women in business. And Natalie, being a believer and being a really incredible woman in business, we are just going to tie both of them together. So if you are hearing one of these episodes on one of the podcasts, welcome to Meant for More. Welcome to Business and Bubbly. We're just kind of doing some efficiency and
knocking out all the birds.
2 birds with one stone. So we're going to have a good time. But Natalie and I were actually recently connected just through some really fun other women that we know, and had a really great prayer night one night. And knowing her, she's actually an Idaho Business Review top woman 40 under 40 and has received some really fun awards. She does investments. She is the CEO of one of the largest commercial property management companies. And from what I have gotten to know of her, she just is not only beautiful on the outside, but really on the inside. And
Thank
so
you.
I've enjoyed really enjoyed getting to start to get to know you. So
Yeah,
thanks
me
for being
too.
here.
That prayer night was so good.
So good.
So many tears. I needed that night so bad.
It was really
Just
good.
like the cleansing of the soul. And when we get together,
Totally.
as just like believers and women to just support each other, uplift, to be vulnerable, to share. It's just so many special things happen.
Yeah,
So.
there's nothing that replaces, like, obviously we're, online here in our live recording. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, we're in your ears, but there still is just nothing that replaces the magic of heart to heart, soul to soul.
True.
belly
It's
to
so
belly.
true. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Well, Natalie, for our Meant for More podcast listeners, you guys know that we love to start with what's called our Meant for More moment. For our Business and Bubbly girls, you're going to kind of be invited into this part of the conversation. And our Meant for More moment is actually what it looks like before the accolades, before all the fancy stuff that Natalie's been up to, and kind of that moment where she knew that she was being called to more, that she knew that there was more that was out there. It's almost like this: I can no longer stay where I am at, and I have to drastically move into a space of where I'm being called to be. And if you're listening on the Business and Bubbly podcast, obviously Business and Bubbly isn't necessarily faith-based. So for you, fill in the blanks, God, we're going to talk about God a little bit. Fill in the blanks for you. Offense is a choice, so don't be offended. And for more, that we talk about God. So
offense is a choice.
Offense is a choice. Okay. So you can choose whether or not to pick that up, but fill in the blank for you. We're going to talk a little bit about God here. And so, Natalie, for you, what was that Meant for More moment?
Yeah.
That you knew that you were being called to more?
Well, that's funny because before, when you kind of prepped me, I had one in mind, but then just right now when you said it, I was like, no, this is actually the right one. So, okay. So I graduated from college and I graduated in 2011. So there was like 0 jobs and I was working at Macy's. Like I was very grateful to have a job.
Yeah.
Right. And I was a manager of 3 different departments: men's clothing, men's shoes, and housewares.
Okay.
3 things that I knew nothing about, literally nothing about. And anyways, so I had a boss and her name was, well, I shouldn't say her name. I'll keep her private.
Should have
I had a boss. Her name was, never mind.
Your name unnamed.
Yeah. And oh gosh, it was just like she was I said a boss because she was not a mentor. She wasn't even really kind. There was like the whole work environment there with among the managers just was not, it was toxic.
Yeah.
And it was super not collaborative. It was competitive. It was petty. It was catty. It was just a really hard environment to be in. And I would go home every day crying. Oh, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. It's horrible. And then also it was so hard for me to be on time. Like literally being on time for work is probably the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. And so, I mean, it was really hard.
That's why she's an entrepreneur now. But anyway.
That's like that from her moment. And then this boss gal, so when I first joined and I got my 3 departments, right? All 3 of my departments were last place in the district. So the district was 12 stores and they rank you. And we were last place in sales. And I went around I had 60 people on my team, 60 employees that ranged from age 18 to 60.
Okay.
And I was 23, maybe, 22, something like that. And I just was like, nobody wants to be a part of a losing team.
Yeah.
And so I went to every single one of my people and I was like, do you want to be on my team? Here's what it's going to look like. This is it. We are going to be number 1 or we're not going to play. So anyways, and then one of the gals in houseware, she had probably worked there for 40 years. Anyway, she grabbed my cheeks and she's like, oh, you're so cute. And I was like, okay. So anyways, within 6 months, we got to first place in the district on all 3 of my departments. And it was just so great and a lot of teamwork and I was coaching them. It was the same players. It's not like I wiped the slate clean and you can't really do that in corporate America anyways. So it was the same players. It was just inviting them into a bigger story of, what they could do and that they were meant for more. But me being in that environment, there wasn't really anywhere else for me to go as far as upward movement or whatever, because the person above me, my boss, she didn't want me. Like there was a lot of sabotage even. Like
Right.
literally other managers would come into my departments and mess up all of my folded sweaters. Like it's crazy to even think like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like I like leave the department and be like beautiful, and the next morning, like all the sweaters and my team would be like, "Oh no, the cosmetics manager did that," and her team.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, anyways, I was just like felt really stuck. I'm like, what is this? Like, I'm having a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. Like this manager, boss of mine, she's like always riding my ass because I'm always late, but I'm like, but my numbers are there. So, anyways, I just prayed and I just cried out to God. I didn't really know God that well, but because I was suffering so bad, I was like, God, help.
Yeah. Anybody out there?
Yeah, exactly. What is this? And yeah, I just felt like literally in my spirit, you need to move to Boise and you need to go and you need to help your parents.
Wow.
And so I told my boyfriend at the time, now husband, I'm like, I think we need to move to Boise. Like I'm not, this is not doing it for me.
Yeah.
And so I think that was it. I was like, I can't do this.
Wow.
I have to be in a different environment.
Yeah. I want to go back to what you were sharing about, okay, taking the same key players and casting that vision of going from dead last out of all of these department stores and casting the vision, right? Because anybody can have a vision, but it takes being a really good leader for other people to catch that vision. So what do you think it was? And maybe you know some of those secret sauce now, like you obviously have tons of employees, you guys do millions of dollars of management, of thousands of doors that you manage. So what does it look like for you to cast that big of a vision to people who could have very easily been like, I'm good. Like,
well, they were kind of like that. Not like what you did, Lord. Well, first of all, every single person, we all have deep within us a desire. Like we all believe, we all are all meant for more.
Yeah.
It's not just like a select couple of you.
Totally.
We're all meant for more. And what that looks like and how that manifests in different people's lives, that's what looks different.
Yeah.
Right. So the fact that these people on my team, the 60 employees at that time, like hadn't had anyone in their life that spoke into that desire.
Right.
And so the initial kind of like getting over the hump of like, yeah, right. Like what, like literally this department, all three of those departments hadn't had a manager for 6 months. So they had just been kind of like wayward and just, they're like, yeah, whatever. We're never going to be in first place in the district. Like these stores are better, blah, blah. They have this, they have that. And I don't know, like it was God in me because I don't know where I got off thinking that we could be first place. Like, yeah, definitely the odds were like not there.
Without the vision, the people perish.
Yeah. I was just like, no, like we have to, and even if we would have landed second or third, it didn't really matter, but I knew that we weren't going to stay last place. Like we were going to put our all effort in. So I had individual conversations with people, which took a while because it was 60 people.
For sure.
But one-on-one and just asking them what their goals for their lives. I mean, some of them had worked there. I'm specifically, oh gosh, it's so long ago. Like I literally haven't thought about this in so long because it's been like over 10 years.
Yeah.
And some of them had worked there for forever. It's not like they were going to get paid more, like what was in it for them?
Right.
Really nothing other than the sense of accomplishment and purpose of achieving something greater than their current situation.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it was just that, like God just really moved me to speak into their lives about, hey, like we can do something greater.
Yeah.
Like, let's be proud of our department.
Yeah.
Let's serve people better. Like when somebody comes in looking for, a graduation suit or something like that, let's actually take care of them. Not as a sales strategy, but as actually caring.
Yeah.
Right. And asking those questions and being a human to human, and getting to know our clients and our customers as people.
Yeah.
And so, and just telling them that I believed in them, that they could do it because I believe anybody can. I think that's like, this is something, I don't know. I don't think that I think everybody can achieve amazing things in their lives. I don't think it's like a select couple of like anointed ones. No,
Totally.
that's not facts. So besides, who am I to say who can and who can't? I don't know. That's only between them and their creator and their, faith and the willingness to step out and start to, I mean, I would like hide behind the racks and I'd like watch them like interact with the customer. And then I would give them feedback immediately, like positive. Wow, you did this, you did that. That was so great. I saw you went out of your comfort zone. You talked to them. Like, so that just like really hands-on coaching, and then obviously modeling it, doing it for them so that they could see me with the customer. But yeah, their origination was just that casting of the vision. Like, don't you want to be a part of something greater?
Yeah.
And it's like, everybody wants to. Most people just believe that they can't.
Right.
Or they've been told they can't for so long that now that becomes a belief.
Yeah.
But no, it's all lies.
All lies.
It's all lies.
I love that.
It's all lies.
So let's pick back up in your story. So now, okay, shifted things around in this department and now feeling the call to uproot everything and to move your family, be closer to your parents.
Yeah.
Now here to Boise, which, side note, it's really funny. I am at my co-working space working, and Natalie and I were scheduled to be on podcast. We were going to do it on Zoom, and all of a sudden she walks up and she's like, "Oh, so this is impromptu live. I'm in glasses and loungewear. You look amazing." But hey, it's really fun. I love it. So I want to back up in your story where now all of a sudden, okay, you pick up your family and move to this space.
Yeah.
Then what?
Okay, so I called my mom. So my parents, my dad had been retired for like 8 years at that point. My family business, it was primarily real estate brokerage focused. So my mom sold commercial assets. So like apartment buildings and office buildings and things like that. They had a very small, at that time, division, managing some single family homes, some duplexes and stuff like that. But I literally felt the call, like, go help your parents. Like I haven't had that many like definite calls. That was one. I said I would never move back to Boise. I said I'd never work for my parents. Like, this was literally like, what? You want me to what? No, of course not. But I obeyed, honestly, not because I'm so great, but because my situation, I sucked so much. I was like, well, whatever. It's got to be better than this.
Yeah.
Than Miss Donna. We're going to call her Donna. Miss Donna getting on my ass every day for being late when my numbers were good. I'm like, what is this? So anyways, so I call my mom and I'm like, hey, I'm going to move back. Do you have a job for me? And she was like, no. She's like, no, we don't have any openings. And I'm like, but you're my mom. Like, I need a job.
Right.
And she's like, we don't have openings. And I'm like, you don't understand. God told me like, I need to move back. So like, I'm coming to help you. She's like, help me. She's like, you don't know anything about real estate. She's like, how are you going to help me? And I'm like, okay, fine. And she's like, fine, I'll let you be a leasing agent. You can lease apartments. You'll make $30,000 a year. I was making 45. So this was like a huge thing. I'm like, wait, what?
Pay cut.
And then, but I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to do it because literally I did not like waking up so early and having this 2-hour commute. Plus I heard God. So moved back. Then shortly thereafter, it was literally 18 months later, my mom got sick, very sick. And she's doing great now. Like, honestly, thanks to God. Seriously, she's had like a miraculous healing from how she was. But yeah, so then shortly thereafter, and then now I find myself, running kind of the day-to-day operations of this business. I just gotten my real estate license. I just realized that I was literally renewing. I was paying an office bill or something yesterday. And I looked at Melissa, who's, we work together. She helps me. And I was like, it's been 10 years since I got my real estate license. I thought it had been 5 years. I feel young still, but no, a whole decade has gone by. So anyways, then, yeah, so my mom kind of was just like exit stage left. Now I started like managing the day to day and all this. I started selling real estate. And then, God really did lay another vision on my heart of like reoccurring revenue. Like, I didn't want to constantly have the highs and the lows of brokerage, like real estate transaction sales. And so much to everyone around me's dismay, like literally every person around me, close into me was like, don't do this. Like why would you focus on property management? It literally doesn't make any money. It's not a money maker. It's a time like suck. Like you'll never make money at it. Like good money, profit wise, they don't, it's not a profitable really business. Brokerage is where it at. You should do this. You should do this. You should do this. But I just, God, like, that's all I got to say is God has just like laid it on my heart. And, yeah, so I stopped doing a lot of brokerage sales and started to just focus on building up the property management side of the business. And then eventually my husband and I did, buy the business 6 years ago. And, we went from managing a couple hundred units to now a couple thousand. And I still do brokerage occasionally, but it's not, thank the Lord, like I don't rely on it as income. We don't, which is an amazing feeling coming from like having been a kid of someone that had all those ups and downs. It just wasn't my thing.
So good. So I want to go back to the space of doing something regardless of what everyone else around you says.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Because this is a big part of what we talk about with Meant for More, as well as being a woman in business. A lot of times that that's a part of the entrepreneurial journey. That's a part of having these big dreams. And that's a part of, even as we grow into our next level, even as we move into, we're pivoting or we're launching the thing or creating the thing or whatever it is. A lot of times those people that are around us, they kind of know us as this first version of ourselves, but when we're being called to more, it's now all of a sudden they have to like start to understand that we're a different version of ourselves.
Well, I think people are only people want the best for us.
Totally.
Right. And so especially, I mean, the ones that are close in, right? I mean, obviously some people are shady. So we're just
your boss lady is shady.
We're leaving those people aside. But like people, my parents, my husband, like they wanted truly the best for me, for us. What they were saying was like, they don't see how it can work, right? How pivoting and focusing on this is going to be good for us. It's difficult because obviously like I felt so in my core, literally from God, that this is the route we need to go. And I wasn't really walking with God even then too, but he's just so merciful. Like even when I've been very far away, like he has just been up close. And I can't explain that. Just grace, mercy. I don't know. I mean, it's grace and mercy. So my husband did see like, okay, this is like cool. Quickly he became like a supporter. He's like, yeah, you're right. Like, let's create like an engine, like this business engine. My mom, like literally, like almost like not to this day, but in recent times was like, you're leaving money on the table, brokerage. And, I think not being mad at those people is super crucial. Like don't think like, oh, they just want to hold me back or they this or they that. Like offense is a choice. So choose not to, right? I loved that. So, don't make up a story of like, oh, they want to hold me back. No, that creates them as an enemy of you and you as an enemy of them. That's not what it is. They want you to be safe.
Totally.
And they're looking through their life lens, which is totally fine. So love them, respect them, but at the end of the day, you have to know that call is from God. Your husband, like has to be like aligned. There has to be like a peace on it and like an unshakable, I don't know, like I had an unshakable vision. Like I just, even though it was hard, like it's not that it was easy. It wasn't easy. It was actually really, really hard. It's hard to find. It was cold calls, like absolute cold calls. Not even like an Instagram following, because those people are not on Instagram. Like people that own large apartment buildings. Like they're not going to find me from a hashtag. They might be on
LinkedIn.
Yeah, they're on LinkedIn. But like still, even back when I was doing this, like it wasn't that.
For sure. Yeah, 10 years ago.
No. So it was all cold calls. And like, how do you find their phone number and how do you introduce yourself and how do you like break that ice? And like, I'm like a young girl, like why would they trust me? And there's just so many hurdles, but I just felt in my core, like, this is what God wants me to do. And there was many like little, how do I want to say, like, how do I want to say this? Many times he's shown me why, like, I still don't know 100% the why he wanted me to do this.
Yeah.
But there's been a couple. So I think that that's also a crucial point, is like, you're not always going to know the why.
So good.
And yet that's faith.
Right.
Right. Like, I don't know why exactly he pulled me into this direction versus making, faster, quicker money in the brokerage.
Yeah.
But now I've seen a couple fruits of why.
Yeah.
So
what was it that pulled you through those really hard days?
I don't know, because I'm crazy. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm like, it's like a bad thing, but it's also a good thing. Because I'm super like aferrada. I don't know how to say that in English, but Ugo's cousin not the other day, but like a couple months ago, my husband's from Mexico, and she was like, "You are aferrada." And it's kind of like a bad thing. And it means like
determined,
stubborn.
Yeah.
Stubborn. Yeah. Determined. Stubborn. Yeah. Stubborn, kind of like,
grit.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you grab onto something and like, you don't let that go until it like comes to fruition. And like, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, right? It's a bad thing if it's not aligned with God's plan.
Right.
I've had times like that where I grabbed onto the wrong thing, and then later on I'm like, oh, whoops, God, no, I'm sorry, like, please. So it's a good thing if it's channeled under his grace.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes we need to let go of stuff.
Yeah. And
we don't want to. Me, last summer, when my husband told me we needed to sell some buildings and I didn't want to. And now the market's like shit.
Yeah.
And that lost us, 7 figures, literally. But like, was that good or was it bad? I don't know. God's learning, he's shaping me. So that exact character quality in that situation was bad. But in this situation where it was under God's like covering, right? It was an actual, like, something he was leading me to do. His spirit was guiding me to focus more on this reoccurring revenue, build the business stream out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just a personality thing I have. It's persistence. I have this thing inside of me that's like, I want to see if I can do it. And that's it.
Yeah.
And until, like, I did want to quit though about 6 months in. This was the turning point. So about 6 months in, I had done 6 months of cold calling. Like, we're talking almost daily, and I got like hung up on, or like there were a lot of wrong numbers, and I'm just like trying to find decision makers for these properties. This is really difficult. And I had a business coach at the time, and I remember telling her, like, I'm done. I've done 6 months of calling. Like, literally, I have nothing to show for it. This is so like dumb, annoying. Like, I don't want to continue. And she told me, she was like, you know what the difference between people who succeed and you? And I was like, what? And she's like, they don't give up, and you're going to. And I was like, oh, okay. And then that was the word I needed. I just kept on going. And then it was like a couple more months after that, maybe like 30 to 60 days in there, that I finally did get a hold of like a decision maker. It was the right time, because in sales, like, it's not always about if your pitch is good.
Right.
You can have the best pitch in the whole world, but if you are trying to sell, I don't know, again, ice cream to someone who's lactose intolerant, like, they're not going to buy it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So it's all about that timing, right? Yeah. It's like your product service meeting their need at the right time.
Yeah.
And it's like very, I mean, I've pitched someone, ongoing following up with them for like a year and a half.
Right.
And so anyways, this person, they answered the phone. It was the right time, the right need. And we signed 14 units, which, like, back then for me, that was like
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we've done like hundreds of units. And I mean, but that first one, I was like, it worked.
Yeah.
Someone did want to work with me. Thank God. And then that person ended up like, referring. Then they had a 60 unit building, then a 21 unit, and then a 28 unit. And then they convert, like, it just flowed from there. Obviously we have other clients other than one person, but you can't give up.
Yeah. That's so good. So if there's someone listening right now, and I know you have another appointment, so we want to finish up soon. And
I'm fluid.
look at us, we're just having such a good time. So if there's someone out there, first of all, that they are almost on the verge of quitting, what would you say to them? And then I have like a kind of this truth bomb that I actually want to land for you about your, I still don't know why.
Oh, okay.
And I think that women like you, women like me, women that are listening to this, that they decide why.
Oh, interesting.
So,
okay. I gotta decide why, because I haven't yet. I mean, I have some like, so there's some answers there,
yeah.
but it's not, I feel like God's going to reveal more.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah. Okay. What was the other question?
So
what
now,
I say to
speaking of the woman who might be, it's all like glass ceiling. She feels like she's coming up against a wall. She wants to quit. What would you say to her?
Okay. The first thing is this, was it a good idea or was it a God idea?
Yeah.
Go back to, you got like, and get real about it, because there's been things that were God ideas that I definitely need to keep with and persevere and keep having faith.
Yeah.
And there are good ideas that I needed to drop sooner.
Yeah.
So that would be it.
I love it. Well, you guys, Natalie also has her own podcast. It's called Beyond Rich. So make sure that you jump on over to her podcast and dive on in. We'll make sure in the show notes to add all of her fun socials and where you can connect with her. But you want to share just a little bit about where they can find you on Instagram, find you, follow you,
sure.
dive into your world.
Yeah, on Instagram, I'm just Natalie Lemus. That's it.
Love it.
That's it. I don't have it. That's all I got.
I love it.
Just one little,
all she got.
little Instagram page.
I love it.
And I love to connect with people on there. It's fun. And it's so amazing. Like, I mean, did we meet? We met through people who probably met on Instagram. I mean, it's just such a blessing how we can meet. Yeah, it's awesome. So thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Bye.
It was so great. If you guys want to share your favorite takeaway, tag us on Instagram, Charity Majors meant for more Business and Bubbly, and Natalie Lemus. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye. See you later.
Thank you so much for listening to the show. I hope it brought some value and some fun into your business and life. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, and even share the episode with a fellow business bestie who you know will love it. It helps us continue to attract top-level guests and reach more and more women who are on their journey in business just like you. Remember that when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. Cheers to your success.